Okay, I started the show telling you we were going to be here with the best experts, breaking down conspiracies, debunking crazy things that come out of Donald Trump's mouth, and also fact-checking whenever we can. So we're going to continue to do that because our colleague, MS Now senior national security reporter David Rohde, has been looking at these documents, the ones Mark Warner says he has already seen because they saw them on the Intelligence Committee, and talking to people about them. So, David, let me bring you in. You've been talking to people about these. You've been looking at them. What have you found so far?
I'm talking to former officials, and they recognize these documents also. They appear to be legitimate. They're massively redacted, so it's very hard to make any sense of them. What I'm looking at right now on my screen, it says sensitive government agency. That's been labeled at the this is not on the original document. It's something that the Trump administration put on it. But the bottom line is they're heavily redacted. And I'm hearing from former officials that this is information that's been out there before. There's one case about reporting in Albany saying that China was creating fake driver's licenses. And the problem was that the source of this information was making up stories about COVID. And that's why that was sort of withdrawn and not prosecuted. And essentially, I have this former senior official who was involved in looking at different efforts to influence the elections, is saying they've cherry-picked pieces of intelligence and built a narrative around them without including the information that doesn't fit their narrative. And many of these other documents are just routine emails. There's several from an individual who complained that and I just want to back up, and this was said earlier. If any of this is true, the person biggest who's in the most trouble here should be John Ratcliffe. President
Who
Trump's,
oversaw the intelligence community
yes,
at the time and wrote the report and oversaw the report.
So during Donald Trump's first term, John Ratcliffe allowed China to get, $200 million voter records. Those voter records are public. Again, I'm hearing that. There's two senior officials I'm talking to, I want to describe them more, who are like, this is all public. This all occurred under John Ratcliffe. And right here this is the dissent that John Ratcliffe submitted in 2021 to the analysis that was done about foreign influence operations in 2020. And his only complaint in this document is that the effort by China to influence public opinion, disinformation, bots, that kind of thing, is larger. He thought that the effort China made was larger than the main assessment. This was also made public, that this should have been a bigger topic, that they made this effort. There is nothing in John Ratcliffe's dissent about votes being switched in any state by China. Nothing.
In fact, in the 2020 report, they make clear that there were not votes changed, right? The one that was his report. I just wanted to mention one thing that you just mentioned, which in case as people are following the story, is this conspiracy about driver's licenses, because this was a Kash Patel favorite a year ago, this conspiracy that there were these Chinese driver's license, or the Chinese were trying to give people fake driver's licenses, and their theory was to vote. But really, I think, and Ken did some of the reporting on this was for people who were under the age of 21, and some of them,
there were a couple of strands. So there were some, drivers' fake IDs seized in customs places and borders around the country, and the FBI report tried to link those with this information from this source that, as David said, was discredited, and those were actually driver's licenses meant for teenagers who were trying to get into bars.
Yeah.
And this report was withdrawn by very senior officials at the time because they deemed it not credible. And guess what? The Trump administration fired all the people who did that for that reason.